He raps, he acts, he wins awards for his work in recording, television, movies, and kissing. He's been the Fresh Prince from Philly to Bel Air and has saved the world from attacking space aliens and space folks living among us, and has even been considered an enemy of the state. But who is this fresh and funny talent who seems to have it all and has done it all, rising to the top of the Hollywood heap with style, grace, and an ever-mindful eye to clean living and clean fun, the epitome of the classic American success story? Spend a little time with us, and you'll find out the answers to all this and more as we present From Philly's Finest to Hollywood's Star, the Will Smith story. Our soon-to-be Fresh Prince was born on September 25, 1968.
He grew up in West Philadelphia, which is a residential area. It's African-American, middle class, and it's row house.
I've always enjoyed him as a performer, and you know, it's good to see that he acknowledges Philadelphia as his roots and where he grew up.
He grew up in the West Philly and Overbrook sections of the city. I think back during the time when he came up, it was probably a better environment than it is now, because I think almost every neighborhood in every city has gotten slightly worse. I mean, the place he grew up in was a very predominantly black, middle-class place. I mean, anyone who's black knows places like this in whatever city they're from.
His mother and father divorced, although civilly, when I think he was about 13, and Will, is friendly still with his father, and of course with his mother. His mother raised him after the family divorce.
As a child, Will's mother says he was lively and gregarious. In fact, so much so he was able to talk before he could walk. His father was very caring and had a strong influence on Will's life. A retired member of the United States Air Force and strict disciplinarian, Will claims his father had so much control over him growing up he never had the opportunity to do anything wrong. Says Will, he did his shaping up by taking little chunks out of your behind. As a child, Will claims his favorite author was Dr. Seuss because he says the book was written in hip-hop rhythm.
Hip-hop is basically a culture that has been developed around the lives and aesthetic forms of expression of young African Americans. It's now a worldwide culture. It's now a culture that's not exclusively African American, but at its beginnings, African Americans and Latinos and West Indians in the New York area began rap music, graffiti, dancing, break dancing, and other forms of expression, certain styles of fashion that people wore. And all of that has continued. Right now, hip-hop culture is centered around rap music, but it is branched into so many other areas.
As a child, Will claims he didn't want to be a fireman or a policeman. He wanted to go up in the space shuttle. In other words, he had dreams and goals, as he says during this interview before riding a float in the annual Tournament of Roses parade.
First, I'd like to say thank you. It makes me feel good that, the American Spirit Foundation felt that, I was a good role model and things like that. What I want to say to the youth of America is what I want to represent, as I ride down, waving and everything. I want to let them know that I represent the youth and I represent success in America. I stand for someone that had a dream, looked forward to their dreams, worked hard, and was positive and came out on top.
Will's grandmother was very influential during his life. In fact, Will's first theatrical experiences were in little plays his grandmother wrote and produced for the church, in which all the kids in the family performed regularly. We'll hear more about Will's grandmother later on.
Will had his brush with parochial school, went to a Catholic junior high school, and it was a very disciplined program. And then he got into a predominantly black high school, Overbrook High, and he started to really feel his sense of becoming an entertainer and an entrepreneur and entertaining his classmates and eventually turning that into what would eventually become Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
He was kind of like, a pioneer to rap, and since he's from Philadelphia, I kind of like hang out around where he used to live and all. To see somebody that was from like my same environment, kind of go out there and make it, it kind of gives you hope, you know what I'm saying?
It's interesting that Will Smith was referred to as the Fresh Prince of Bel Air when he arrived in Hollywood, because really at Overbrook High School in West Philly, he was more like Prince Charming. I mean, this was a guy that was the class clown up to a point. he was careful enough to walk right up to that line where his teachers would laugh at him without getting upset with him. So he was as much a local cheerleader and a person that could bring everybody together, and very much a young businessman, even in his teenage years.
Will started listening to rap records in the summer of the 7th grade. The first rap album he purchased was Rapper's Delight by Sugar Hill Gang. His rep as a rapper started to grow after he continually beat other rappers in street challenges. He soon learned how to scratch records, and his parents took him to church functions and parties, where he served as the DJ and performed raps whenever he had the chance.
Will Smith's parents were hardly absentee parents. As a matter of fact, quite the opposite. You know, during the 80s, there was somewhat of a trend to have both parents working, and certainly Will's parents worked, but they were very involved in Will throughout his high school years.
Jeff Towns had attained the rep of Best Rap DJ in Philly, and he'd heard about Will's rep as a rapper and DJ, but Jeff already had a partner. This was all going to change thanks to a chance meeting at a party and a goofy sense of humor.
Fascinating story about how Will Smith and Jeff Towns got together. They were both invited to a party in Philadelphia during their teenage years, and Jeff brought in some joke attack gas in a can, this party gas that put off this offensive smell. And Will Smith got such a kick out of this that they knew that they were going to be friends for life and partners in business because of this joke gas can.
They enjoyed each other's company, they started hanging out together, and then they started working together, and they became huge stars together.
He was called the Fresh Prince because that's what they called him when he was a kid in school. You know, fresh is a term basically in hip-hop. It meant, you know, new, wonderful, you know, on top of things, hip. Even that's passe now. Prince because he was very charming. That's where Fresh Prince comes from. I think one of his teachers gave him that name. The Prince name anyway, and he tacked fresh onto it as a hip-hop moniker.
He had scratched out some lyrics on a pad, including what you would expect, you know, the usual filthy, antisocial stuff. And his grandmother saw that, and she went over to the pad. She started crossing these words out, saying, I never want to hear you use, you can't use that word, you can't use that word, you can't use that word.
Keep it clean, because my grandmother wouldn't have it no other way. When I first started writing rhymes in probably 80 is when I really first started to sit down and write rhymes, and I was writing raps in my book, and I had my 4-letter words in there. You know, I was writing all my stuff, and my grandmother found my rap book, and she wrote a letter in the back of my rap book. She said, Dear Willard, that's my grandmother called me Willard. She said, Dear Willard, truly intelligent people do not have to use words like this to express themselves. Show the world that you're as smart as we think they are. So, and you know, I decided, okay, all right, Grandma, you're right.
Ultimately, it was a moral judgment on Will's part. He wanted to entertain. He liked having Grandmama's iron fist behind his decision, but he did it out of respect, not out of avoiding a whooping.
Will Smith's grandmother gave him the key to stardom, because had he decided to be like everybody else and do the filth and do the horror and do the antisocial stuff, he'd just be part of the crowd.
I really respect him. I recently got into like rap a little bit more about 3 years ago, and at first I was turned off about it by like the lyrics and some of the lewd comments and stuff, but Will Smith really changed my the aspect like how I feel about it, and I really love, I can't go like an entire day without listening to like dancing and grooving along.
I think there's a certain honesty that comes through in Will Smith's comedy that is cross-cultural. Blacks can certainly relate to his inner city tales, and yet he's well accepted and plays into the fact of being in Bel Air suited him just fine. One of the secrets to Will Smith's success in terms of comedy is his honesty and sense of humor is cross-cultural in a sense. Whites get it, blacks get it, everybody has a good time.
As a team, the raps of DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince were clean, yet amusing and entertaining. A completely new and unique rap style.
It's very interesting. Jeff was kind of in the background, but Jeff was very important to the music. Will came in with Jeff's help. He wrote the tunes. He went out there with that personality of his, and he sold everything. a very symbiotic, very nice collaboration between the two.
Their first effort together, Girls Ain't Nothing But Trouble, came from their personal journals and rap books. Dana Goodman of Word Up Records offered them a one-shot recording deal, and they grabbed it. The record went top 20 in Great Britain and sold over 100,000 copies. The following summer, the boys toured England with Def Jam Records and were shocked and amazed by the throngs of screaming girls who met them at the airports and followed them wherever they went.
It's his personality that sold the record. He's very excitable, he's very likable. He seemed to be the kind of guy you like to hang out with.
Their first album, Rock the House, was for Jive Records and was a further foray into tongue-in-cheek rap music. It included the song Just One of Those Days, set to a sample of Irving Berlin's Puttin' on the Ritz. Don't Even Try, Diss Their Detractors, and Special Announcement was a cut in which they thanked everyone who helped them along the way. It became a big hit. Believe it or not, during this meteoric rise to fame and fortune, Will was still only a senior in high school.
Will had a difficult decision to make in his senior year at Overbrook High. He had the opportunity to go to MIT on a scholarship. His father was an engineer. This seemed like a natural path for him to follow. But he decided that his heart was in entertainment and that he belonged in the entertainment field.
Will and his dad made a deal. Try show business for a year. If it worked, fine. If not, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. MIT never had a chance. In 1988, they released a 2-record vinyl set, He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper. It contained their biggest hits to date, Nightmare on My Street, a rap tribute to Freddy Krueger, and the rocket, Parents Just Don't Understand.
Will Smith was the rapper that both kids and parents liked because he poked fun at that generational gap that happens between parents and kids and made parents feel comfortable with the idea of their kids listening to what in some eyes was a strange new form of music that was coming from the streets, which in some cases could seem threatening, but because he put a humorous take on it and said, hey, you know, parents just don't understand, he was able to make it work for the parents and the kids.
Parents becomes a monster hit on R&B charts and in the mainstream as well. MTV put it in heavy rotation and it sold like hotcakes, even with the humorous theme.
Parents don't just understand. I remember seeing that on MTV. It was in heavy rotation, and it was funny. It was done with humor, and it dealt with something universal, the fact that kids and parents, when a kid is a teenager, the parents just don't understand. That's what he was addressing in that, and I think that is probably the thing that made him a star, because it crossed over from just black playlists to white. I mean, MTV back then wasn't known for playing a lot of black artists, played virtually none. He got on MTV, he attracted a white audience in addition to the black audience he had, and that basically put him on the rocket.
At a time when gangster rap was just beginning to emerge, it didn't even have a name yet, Will Smith decided to take a decidedly different tact and use humor and yet still get a message across. And it was Will's grandmother that, in a sense, used an iron fist to say, you will not do this kind of gangster rap and talk about drugs and killing.
Other rap groups, frankly, scare the hell out of white people. And some of them scare the hell out of everybody because some of them are vicious. What made Will so unusual was that his rap was friendly, accessible, understandable to both black people and white people.
His music is great. He doesn't sing all that gangster rap, I think it's great.
There can be good rap in any genre. It's like the difference between Walt Disney and Stephen King. You know, they both present different types of cinematic experiences. Well, it's the same thing with rap. I mean, Will Smith was never a quote-unquote gangster rapper. He was never a quote-unquote political rapper. He was just a young kid that liked to party, and that's what came out in his music.
In January of 1989 at the American Music Awards, He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper won Best Artist and Best Album honors. A month later, in February of the same year, Parents Just Don't Understand won a Grammy Award for a new category, Best Rap Single. Will was on the roller coaster of fame and fortune headed for the top. He was a millionaire by the time he was 18, and he began a life of non-stop partying.
But he's done some stupid things in his life, but he's rebounded. He's done very well. And stupid things, I don't mean anything illegal or anything, just stuff that stupid young kids do.
Will managed to blow $800,000 in 1 year. And then to add insult to injury, the IRS nailed him for millions in back taxes. By 1990, the party was over.
Here's a guy that was a millionaire at the age of 18 and also had the IRS knocking on his door to pay some back tax bills at the point when the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air TV series came along, and just in time.
In Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will played, if you will, a kid from the ghetto who was placed in the home of a wealthy African American who lived in Bel-Air. The irony of this is that this show is actually based on a real life story. Benny Medina, who was a man from, not South Central, but this area in Los Angeles, was taken into the home of Jack and Bobby Elliott. Jack is a very well-known a songwriter and a lyricist, and they decided, because they're real liberals, they said, look, we want to put our money where our mouth is. Let's put this kid in our home, send him to the best schools in Beverly Hills, and see what happens. And what happened was Benny Medina emerged from this. He blossomed, became a music executive at Warner Brothers, and the show was based on his career. And Will sort of slipped right into this.
Well, like everything else in Hollywood, it's a question of connections. Will was was a guest on the Arsenio Hall show, met somebody on the Arsenio Hall show who pitched the idea to him, and they took that to Quincy Jones, who took it to NBC, where Brandon Tartikoff, then the president of NBC Entertainment, thought it'd be a good idea. Brandon has a lot of good ideas, and he's willing to try different things.
NBC, under the guidance of Brandon Tartikoff, likes the idea, but decides to change the adopting family to a black family and market the show for black audiences. Television critics thought Tartikoff might have lost his mind with the bold gamble of giving the lead of a new show to an untried rapper. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air debuts in the fall of 1990.
In fact, he was hired to do The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air without anyone asking him if he could act or if he ever had acted. He hadn't, but he could, and he did.
So here you have Will Smith arriving in Hollywood, never having acted formally before, and he felt he was going to be a quick study, and as we saw, he was. The show took off. But he once related to me a story that in the first couple of episodes, he had such a tough time learning his lines that he had to learn everybody's lines. So when he was in scenes, if you look at the two shots, the cover shots where both the actors in the scene are together, you not only see Will delivering his lines, but ever so slightly you see him mouthing the lines of the other actor. And this was a situation that cleared up after the first couple of episodes.
The thing about Will Smith is that so much of it is natural. Oh, there's no question the guy works at it and is professional and works hard at what he does. That's all well and good. But there's something innate. There's something inside him that projects a certain attitude, a certain quality that just makes him so likable and so watchable. And there's nothing you can do if you don't have that quality, and if you do, you're really lucky. And if you're Will Smith, you develop that even further.
I followed The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I probably saw every episode twice.
Mostly it was just a fun show. It was Will Smith making fun of the eccentricities of the wealthy. And that was the heart of the humor.
The show is a big hit. Quincy Jones is quoted as saying, "Will Smith is a monster talent." A Big Eastern Daily reports, "Mr. Smith not only can sing, write, and dance, he clearly can act, too." And a television critic says Will Smith's enjoyment of the role is infectious.
There's a certain combination of qualities about Will Smith. He's friendly, he's your friend, he's a friend you want to have. He's energetic, he's funny. He's just the kind of person you'd love to pal around with. He's non-threatening. If you're a woman, he's a guy's guy. If you're a guy, he just has that kind of universal appeal that just makes him perfect.
I think deep down he is a nice guy. I think deep down he is a friendly person, and that projects.
With his success on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will is relieved to be out of debt and IRS trouble. He lives a quiet life. Around this time, he begins working with Jazzy Jeff on their fourth album, Home Base. Released in 1991, one of the cuts is called Summertime, and they decide to release it as a video. Summertime wins Jazzy Jeff and Will their second Grammy Award, and a short time later, Will breaks into film.
It's ironic that Will Smith's first foray into feature films was Where the Day Takes You, a gritty drama that was not an easily taken to subject on the part of the general film-going public. I mean, it dealt with drugs and street prostitution, heady stuff for a first film. He did well in it.
Where the Day Takes You was a low-budget story of runaway kids in Los Angeles, with a now famous cast including Dermot Mulroney, Ricky Lake, Kyle MacLachlan, Alyssa Milano, Laura San Giacomo, and Christian Slater. Will played Manny, a legless street kid. It was his first dramatic role and taught him more than he wanted to know about life on the street.
One of his next projects was Made in America. It starred Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson. He was still taking the sidekick roles, things that he felt comfortable sinking his teeth in, didn't want to bite off more than he could chew. And this is how he slowly but surely built his feature film career.
Made in America was directed by Richard Benjamin, and along with Whoopi and Ted, co-starred Nia Long. Will played Nia's friend and schoolmate T. Cake Walters. The film was a huge box office success, grossing over $100 million. Also in 1993, Code Red, the fifth and final album Will made with Jazzy Jeff, was released. And more importantly, Will was cast in the film version of the Broadway play 6 Degrees of Separation.
6 Degrees of Separation was the litmus test for Will Smith's acting career. He studied for over 18 weeks. He really got into this part, and it was the part that really made other movie directors stand up and take notice as Will Smith as a serious feature actor for the future.
6 Degrees starred Hollywood film heavyweights Donald Sutherland and Stockard Channing.
Those roles like 6 Degrees come along really rarely. You know, so it's like really trying to find the work that is someone's life passion. You know, 6 Degrees was John Guare's life passion. He worked on it for 15 years or something like that. And those pieces of work are kind of in the oven right now, so you got to wait for them to be done.
That was very controversial because there was a scene in that movie where Will's character was supposed to kiss, and he was a gay male, and he was supposed to kiss another man. And Will said he just couldn't bring himself to do it. So they had to bring a standby in to actually kiss the guy. It was Anthony Michael Hall. That was the guy who Will's character was having the relationship with. And Will, he told me, he's like, what are my boys of Philly going to think about this,
Well, the critics thought Will's work was fabulous. A highly respected national news weekly said, Will Smith is needy, daring, and insinuating. Entertainment trade papers called Will's work an impressive performance. And if all this wasn't enough, Will gets noticed by other Hollywood directors and definitely becomes a member of Hollywood's A-list. None of this is a surprise to Will.
What my motto is and has always been, if you stand next to someone who's an Oscar caliber actor, eventually people are going to say, hey, damn, Will must be an Oscar caliber actor. So it's like that. I'm just trying to surround myself with the best people, and they'll bring the best out of me.
Will must have taken his own advice to heart, because in the midst of all this excitement, the movies, the television show, the awards, Will meets, falls in love with, and marries Cherise Zampino in 1992. Shortly afterward, she gives birth to Willard Smith III, who Will immediately nicknames Trey.
The one thing about Will Smith that struck me was, here's a guy who was really committed to his child.
Bad boy, what you gonna do when it comes for you?
Fatherhood is just so amazing, and the thing, my son right now, he's 5, so he's right at that age where like he has a real serious opinion, so that's really a wonderful time. The first year or 2 years is kind of scary, it's like you're going in there every night and shaking the baby and waking him up. You okay? All right, cool.
Regardless of his success in movies and his new married life, Will returns to the 1992-93 season of Fresh Prince.
I enjoy doing television. I'll do television, as long as people enjoy seeing it. I'm going to make my progression slowly into films. Television is a great job.
Although Will enjoyed television, his movie career ran into some obstacles. Will desperately wanted the role of Robin in Batman Forever, but it went to Chris O'Donnell, and the primo role in Just Cause with Sean Connery went to Blair Underwood. Just when Will thinks things can't get any worse, Jerry Bruckheimer cast Will in Bad Boys with the zany Martin Lawrence, even though Will was not the other producer's first choice for the role.
You know, that was the thing, but it was like everyone knew that Martin and I had to put our stamp on this film. And that's what we did. We went in and we made it Martin and Will's, because it was originally written for John Lovitz and Dana Carvey.
I mean, it doesn't matter if Columbia, that he wasn't the first choice. He made the show. I think Bad Boys was my favorite because I think it really established him not just as a, you know, a charming guy, but also as a, you know, an action figure.
The Hollywood trade papers say, cast against type, Smith as the playboy and Lawrence as the family man, both are winningly smooth comic actors. Rock magazine state, Lawrence and Smith are firecrackers. The film shoots in Miami and Will falls in love with the place. He also becomes fast friends with Martin Lawrence.
It's one of those things, you meet somebody and it just gels, it just happened. You know, we had a lot of fun. We went down there and it's nothing that we can really put our finger on, it just happened. We enjoy each other's company, we just had a ball. No bad habits, just having fun. You know, it was like we really enjoyed ourselves the whole time. We went down to Miami, really didn't know exactly, you know, how it was going to be, what we were going to do. The script was really loose, so we had, you know, a lot of ad-libbing, so it was more work writing-wise than we usually do on film.
Well, it definitely worked. The film grosses $140 million in the United States and $75 million abroad. After the success of Bad Boys, Will feels Fresh Prince is confining and decides to get out while the show's still funny. He throws a closing cast party.
One of the cliches in Hollywood is you always need to go out on top. But Will Smith did go out on top. He did have the guts to say, this show, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, may not be fresh next season and may turn out looking like old produce. So he decided to walk while they were truly on top, which takes a tremendous amount of confidence. There are people like Tim Allen that have revered him for those kinds of gutsy decisions.
I don't think you ever know the right time, and Will Smith was, I think, the brightest guy, because he did it when his show is right at the, you know, I think he could have done another year, but I think he was the genius of this.
In 1995, there were two huge changes in Will's life and career. His career segues from television to film, and unfortunately, his marriage to Cherie crumbles as she announces she wants a divorce.
It was a short-lived marriage, and I think only Will and Cherie know the reasons behind their breakup. But certainly from the outside looking in, Cherie had to come to terms with the fact during that time that she was going to have to share her husband with the rest of the world for a long time to come. And he was on the fast track to superstardom, and that's got to be tough on a marriage.
Will is devastated and very upset that Trey has to deal with divorce at such a young and tender age. But always the gentleman, he agrees to pull the plug on the union. He slowly learns to enjoy his newfound independence, and as fate would have it, he is offered to read a new script called Independence Day.
It was like a big science fiction movie, but had a great story, and that's rare. You know, a lot of times when you special effects movies, they're just about special effects and not really about a film and not really about characters, and Independence Day was about people.
Will lands a role in Independence Day and then checks out every disaster film he can find. He says he models his role after Ernest Borgnine in the Poseidon Adventure. Funny in the situation, not funny, haha. And that's a quote. The cast includes Harry Connick Jr., Judd Hirsch, Randy Quaid, Robert Loggia, Harvey Fierstein, Bill Pullman, and Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum and I had a lot of fun. You know, we spent hours and hours inside of that spaceship, so we kind of got to know one another. We had a ball in outer space.
Independence Day, it was great. Saved the world.
Will is nominated and wins the MTV Movie Award for Best Kiss with Vivica Fox, who plays his wife in the film. And as if that's not enough, the film grosses over $300 million, the highest grossing film of Will's career. It's not long before he gets a call from Steven Spielberg himself, who says, "You've got to be in this movie." Will can't turn him down. He will co-star with Tommy Lee Jones. The movie is Men in Black.
We had a ball. Tommy Lee Jones is hilarious. And, like, people don't realize that, you know, because, you know, he has a really, really, you know, firm, hey, baby, hey, girl, come on, that's my girl, Jada Pinkett.
Will renews his relationship with Jada Pinkett, whom he met years ago when she auditioned on Fresh Prince to be one of his love interests. But at 5 feet tall, producers thought Will, at 6'2", would make the screen relationship seem odd. Little did they know.
No, but Tommy Lee Jones is great. This is stream of consciousness. How is it? I'm excited.
I'm excited. I had coffee before I came, of all things. Why did I ever do that? I'm really excited. This is fun. You don't have your Men in Black glasses, though. But Tommy Lee Jones, we just had a ball. You know, making this movie, we just had so much fun. And, you know, they were joking 24 hours a day. And it was just so much fun. And they asked me because the movie's about to start, and I got to go.
Any more music? Actually, I created a song for the title song for Men in Black. Do I sing? It's rap. It's rap. Yeah, I got to keep it on the hush-hush, though. We can't let it out just yet. It's hush-hush. It's top secret. Men in Black, top secret stuff.
Jive Records turns down the Men in Black theme, claiming they don't feel it's a hit. Columbia, on the other hand, runs with it, and it becomes the most played record in the history of rap. So much so, in February of 1998, Will wins another Grammy for Men in Black.
Last year at the Grammys, I don't remember exactly how it went down, but basically they announced, you know, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Will Smith doesn't really call himself anymore. He's more like the artist once known as the Fresh Prince. But they came out and they had the Phillies baseball caps and baseball shirts on. And they, you know, said hi to Philly, and they really pumped up the fact that they were from Philly. And when that happened, I mean, people here in town just ate it up. They just loved it.
Will realizes his first love will always be music.
The thing about making records is more about you know? When you're making a movie, you're more of a tool for someone else's vision. You know, someone else has thought up the story, and someone else has written the script, and someone else has signed on to direct it, and it's their vision, and you're helping them to see their vision. Whereas when you make records, it's completely about you. It's completely about what you think, what you feel, what you want to communicate.
Will communicates his love for Jada Pinkett and starts being seen with her in public.
Will Smith and Jada Pinkett are about as close to getting towards harmonic convergence as you can get. Here you have two people that have boundless amounts of energy. You put them together and it really is a magic that happens. You can see it when they're together. They're bouncing off each other. The one-liners are flying, but you can see there's still a great amount of romance there.
Jada discovers she's pregnant late in 1997, and the couple are married on December 13th, 1997 in Baltimore. It's a small affair for family and close friends.
This is my second time around, so I'm doing it right this time. Corrected all my mistakes. I guess I don't know. There's no real big eye openers, you know, because I knew that my wife, my girlfriend, then was the love of my life, and I knew from the first moment that I saw her that we would be together forever. She wasn't attracted to me though. Oh, picked out a name, so you're my child. Yeah, I haven't picked a name. Jada picked a couple names. What was it? Bryn Camille Smith. See, my thing is you can't put a Smith on the end of a name like Bryn Camille because it's like it's about to be great and then Smith, you know. Oh, rules around the house. What do I sing? Well, actually, you know, I like to make up songs. You know, I make up love songs. I can't give you any of the lyrics because it's different. You know, those songs are different than the ones I release. But you know, Jada and I, she thinks I can't sing, but I really can sing, and I might even try that on the next album.
And I bought his Big Willie Style. I listen to it all the time.
Big Willie Style is released in 1997. According to Will, Big Willie means someone is great at what they do. Michael Jordan is a Big Willie in basketball, so that must make Will a Big Willie in the world of rap. The album wins another Grammy in 1998. Here, Will talks about a cut on the album, Gettin Jiggy with It.
Seinfeld said Gettin Jiggy with It on the Seinfeld show, and he was using it in the show, and he was using it to mean sex. Or he was kind of using it, you know, to mean a lot of different things, but he said Gettin Jiggy with It on Seinfeld show, and then that's when, you know, you started hearing newscasters and stuff like that starting to say it with it, and the guy from ESPN, the black guy from ESPN started saying Gettin Jiggy with It for all the football and basketball moves and stuff, and that kind of took off, and here we are today. Musically, we're about to put out the second single from the album entitled Big Willie Style. And the single is called Just the Two of Us. And it's a record I made about my son, so it's gonna be just wonderful and warm.
His new song, The Two of Us, with his son is just, I just love it.
It was great working with my son. You know, after his main concern was he wants to keep the award in his room. You know, and that's the thing. His dad, now this one's mine, right, Daddy? Like, yeah, it's yours. I can keep it in my room, whatever I want. Yeah, whatever you want, Trey. So, you know, I mean, it was good because it was a song that was really about what I was thinking and feeling, and, you know, I think probably the best song I've ever written, so it feels good for people to accept it.
The thing about Will Smith's music is it's easily consumable. Translation, easily understandable, and it's multicultural in a sense. It's not just black music, urban music. All sorts of people from all different walks of life have picked up on Will Smith and his music, and I think that's part of the success.
Well, the fans really liked Big Willie's style as he wins a Blockbuster Award in 1998.
Well, you know, what's great about these awards is that the fans actually vote. You know, the fans, they take time out of their day to actually send in a ballot or to get on the internet and vote for you. So this is like the raw, uncut truth. You know, so it feels good when the fans actually call your votes in.
Hollywood is kind of a vacuum. You know, there are a lot of things that everyone likes in Hollywood that no one likes outside of Hollywood, and then vice versa. So this is like the really pure opinion of the audience. Did we like it or not?
At the 1998 Golden Globe Awards, Jada insists on being introduced as Jada Smith, not Pinkett. Her new stage name is Jada Pinkett Smith. On July 8th of 1998, Jada gives birth to a boy, Jaden Christopher Sire Smith. When asked about Trey's reaction to his new brother, Will had this to say.
He's actually a little disappointed because he said he can't do nothing. I'm like, well, you know, Trey, you have to give him a minute to grow up, you know, before he's like, well, we can't play, you know. He's like, no, he wants to carry him around and all that type of stuff, but he's a little disappointed that he don't do nothing.
I think he's terrific. He's done it all. He's made it big in every field. And plus, he's got a great personal life, it seems.
Enemy of the State with Gene Hackman is released in 1998. It, too, is a big hit. But before Will got the lead role, it was originally offered to Tom Cruise.
Now, that means that Will Smith is doing Tom Cruise roles, which means he has gotten out of the casting assignment of being a black actor. He is an actor, but more than an actor, he's a star.
I think the future of Will Smith is really unlimited.
Yeah, when you think about it, how many people can you think of that have been really big successes in the world of music and in the world of television and in the world of movies?
Overbrook Entertainment. Overbrook, that's my partner. He's back here somewhere, James Lassiter. We just started a production company with Universal. We're producing television, film, and music. We have scads of great young artists that we're working with. We really want to be a talent-based company, and it's just, you know, it's absolutely incredible. Our television department, we just sold a couple television shows, and we're working on our film department. Our music department is about to be just incredible. Yes.
I can't think offhand of anybody in the last decade or two that's managed that kind of success. So it's really a testimony to his talent and to the fact that he has all these outside interests and is able to really conquer all these various media. That says something about what he can do and what we can expect of him in the future.
No, you know, it was like 11 years ago. For parents just don't understand, and yeah, that's weird. I didn't think about that. My speech being about my son. You know, it's just I've had a really great decade. You know, I'm just excited and things are going well and life is just damn good, man. Is there anything that I'm not good at? I'll call you when I find it, baby.